Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk TCI Real Estate, a show that is geared towards educating us all about all things real estate in the Turks and Caicos Islands. Also, a show that is your source for insightful discussions about real estate. And of course, I am Veronica Delancey. Please like and share the page and let me know where you're listening in from. I would love to have your comments. I would love to have your questions as we go through this episode of Let's Talk TCI Real Estate. Today we are diving into a crucial topic for anyone who is interested in real estate in the Turks and Caicos Islands or real estate anywhere. Which is the importance of having a budget. I feel like this is a very important topic. I always like to come out and speak about topics that I see where people are experiencing a bit of a difficulty. And for the past 2 or 3 weeks, I noticed this has been a recurring theme that has come up where persons aren't sure about a budget. They walk into your office and their response is, I would like to purchase vacant land or I would like to purchase a home, but they have no idea about what kind of budget they have towards this purchasing process. So that was one of the reasons why I decided that today I want to have an informative discussion about the importance of having a budget in real estate. Okay, so please lock in, please share the page. Please, if you have questions or comments, please feel free to participate. I am glancing at my phone every now and again, so I'll be sure to, if you have a question or two, to do my best to answer that for you. All right, so let's dive in. And like I said, this is a topic I think that's very crucial for anyone who's interested in investing in real estate, and which is the importance of having a budget. So whether you are a seasoned investor or just starting in the field of real estate, understanding the financial aspects of real estate is key to your success. So why budgeting matters in real estate? So let's start with that question. Real estate transactions involve significant sums of money, you will agree. And without proper financial planning, you could be setting yourself up for financial trouble. So a budget provides a roadmap for your real estate endeavors, helping you to make informed decisions and ensuring your investment remains profitable. Like any other business, you must carefully budget. I don't care what type of business you're investing into. A lot of things in life, you need to think about a budget. Some of us, really, we don't budget, we spend. But in real estate, I think it's very important to make sound decisions. You need a roadmap. You need to budget to know exactly what you will be able to invest in, okay? So real estate, you start thinking about persons who are getting bank financing, and also you start thinking about someone, maybe a cash buyer. So I've actually broken down this segment where we can talk a little bit and give you ideas as a person who's into financing and also as a cash buyer, so that everyone can be included in this segment about budgeting. So let's start with that person who is getting bank financing, right? What I would like to say to persons, if you are getting bank financing, when seeking bank financing for your real estate venture, it is important to leverage the expertise of the bank to assist in determining your budget. A significant step in this process is obtaining pre-approval, which provides a clear picture of your affordability. By doing so, the bank can provide you with a detailed breakdown of your monthly expenses, your associated costs and interest rates. This information is invaluable, and it allows you to assess whether this financial structure aligns with your long-term budget, considering the years of mortgage payments ahead. So just let me summarize and say that again. If you are getting bank financing, then I think it's important for you to leverage the expertise of a bank to assist in determining your budget, because remember, you are relying on them to lend you funds. So you want to be pre-approved, and you want to be able to understand all the fees that are associated with this transaction through the bank, so you could know what you can afford and hence be able to know what is your budget, right? So obtaining pre-approval not only benefits you, but it also empowers your real estate agent to identify properties that align with in your budget and financial capabilities. It's crucial not to just make assumptions about your eligibility and affordability when it comes to a property purchase. I just want to stick a pin there and say, from time to time in the real estate business, you have persons who are getting bank financing, but when they approach you, they are interested in buying something and they feel like, okay, you know what, I can afford, just as an example, I can afford $700,000 to purchase a home, right? Sometimes we have a lot of expectations, or we feel like we are able to afford something, but we don't realize the cost that comes with it. Like I mentioned before, the banking fees or the closing costs, all of these other fees that will affect what you actually can afford, right? So, like I said, it's crucial not to make assumptions about your eligibility or affordability. Sometimes you can afford even more than you think you can, but that's why you need to check with the bank and have them pre-approve or pre-qualify you, and this is going to help you to clearly understand your budget. All right? So basically this proactive approach gives you a competitive edge, obviously, when you know what you're pre-qualify for, particularly in a low inventory market where multiple buyers may be vying for the same property. So being pre-approved or pre-qualified puts you in a stronger position to secure your desired home or land. Okay? Another method I always say, it's connected to being pre-qualified, but also another thing I say to persons who are depending on the bank to make a purchase. When you're thinking about a budget, another method I always say to persons is, right, to help you understand your budget, is based on your down payment. A down payment is very important. So you need to decide how much you can comfortably put towards a down payment. A larger down payment can reduce your monthly mortgage payments and expand your budget. Also, make sure to account for your closing costs, like I've mentioned before. So in keeping with this whole idea of deposits, perhaps you may want to shop around to the various lenders to see who would provide the best down payment options for you. And this can tweak the numbers of your budget as well. If I were to simplify it just a little bit more for you, for example, normally if you are purchasing, just say a home, some banks may say you need to have an injection of 20%, while other banks, depending if they have like a promotion going on or depend on your credit history, they may say that, hey, guess what? You can qualify for this home with only 10% down, right? Because every bank is different and has its own rules. So by going with the bank that, for example, only allow you to put 10% down, then you may be able to stretch your budget a little bit more. So if you, instead of buying a house at $200,000, you may be able to afford a house at, $225,000, because now you don't have to come up with a 20% deposit, but rather 10% deposit. So like I said, shop around and see who can give you the best deals, and this is going to help you also to stretch your budget a little bit. But the main idea about this whole thing is depend on the bank. If you are getting financing, let them help you calculate your costs, your closing costs, bank fees, interest rates, your mortgage payments, so you can make sure that you are comfortable in any purchase, and they'll be able to pre-qualify you and let you know, hey, this is where your budget is based on your salary. I know this is something I've said so many times, but this is very important if you are depending on buying financing. let the bank help you with setting that budget. Therefore, when you walk into any real estate office, you are confidently able to say, you know what, I have done my due diligence, I've done my homework, and I know exactly where my budget lies, and I'm able to look for properties within that price point. As we speak a little bit later down in this session, we're going to talk about even more reasons why it's so important to have your budget, know your budget when purchasing real estate, okay? So now we're going to go over just a little bit more just to say if you are a cash buyer. So we've talked about someone who is getting bank financing. Now we're going to talk about budgeting in terms of someone who is a cash buyer, right? So you typically will have most times with cash buyers, I think that they typically have a predetermined budget or spending limit in mind already, right? So cash buyers will then have that advantage to not rely on financing or mortgage approvals. So they have a clear understanding of their purchasing power. So this allows for a more streamlined and straightforward process or approach to property acquisition, as you can confidently assess properties within your budget and make offers accordingly. Cash buyers also have a competitive edge in negotiations, as their ability to close a deal quickly without financing contingency is appealing to sellers. So as a cash buyer, again, like I say, most times you have a predetermined budget, or spending limit in mind, right? But while you're being a cash buyer, provides many advantages, not having a clear budget or spending limit when purchasing real estate can still pose a disadvantage. And the reason why I want to talk about these disadvantages is because you have cash buyers sometimes, they come in a real estate office and they are like, okay, I have cash, help me find this. But you still, as a cash buyer, need to have a budget. There are so many reasons, but I'll say two things I want to talk about. One, overcommitting. Without a predefined budget, there's a risk of overcommitting and spending more than you can comfortably afford. This can lead to financial strains or limit your ability to invest in other opportunities. Okay, so even though you may have that cash, you can overcommit because, without having a predefined budget. So that's something you need to think about as a cash buyer. So you need to figure out what is your budget that you're willing to spend. And then you could have lack of focus. A budget helps you to narrow down your search and focus on properties that align within your financial goals. Without one, you may waste time considering properties that are not a realistic fit. Think about that, because you can narrow down your search. If you have a budget, we can narrow it down based on that budget, and then you can focus on those properties. Or else you would be all over the place looking at so many different properties, and you will find that you've wasted a lot of time looking at things that doesn't really align with your financial goals. And that's so important even from an investment standpoint. Okay? Right. So I would like to ask myself then, well, why would a real estate agent ask a customer about their budget? The reason I'm thinking about this question again is because you have, again, persons might walk in your office and an agent may ask this question. Sometimes customers are taken aback and they may feel as if, they're thinking like, I can't afford. And it's not about you being able to afford or not afford. Right? You can have $1 million in your pocket. You can have $10 million in your pocket. At the end of the day, even though you have all that money, you still, like I said before, may have a budget so that aligns with your financial goals and your objective, right? So why would a real estate agent ask a customer about their budget? So many reasons, but I'll just talk about one or two. So basically, real estate agents, we rely on the client's budget to be able to help them find the right property fit for several reasons. When clients don't provide an accurate budget or provide the wrong budget, it can lead to challenges in a property search process, right? So not providing a budget is a bad thing, and also providing the wrong budget is also a bad thing, because we're relying on this budget to help to find you the right property, to align with your financial goals, right? So also, with the market being the way it is in the Turks and Caicos Islands, sometimes I find that, I'll say this, clients are a bit afraid to give their true budget, like I've said before. And I have to remind them that every real estate transaction, guess what? It is a big transaction. It is a big investment, no matter the budget. And having a small budget is nothing to be ashamed of. I always try to tell people that, right? It just means that I have to work a little bit harder to find the right property for you, or it may take a little bit longer, but we will eventually get there. So if your budget is $25,000, even though in this market in Turks and Caicos, I know that it is so difficult and almost impossible to find anything within that budget, as a realtor, as a real estate agent, I would say don't be afraid, because at least I know what I'm working towards, versus you telling me your budget is $500,000 and we continue to be looking forever and never find the right fit. Okay? So don't be ashamed of that. Make sure, let us know, no matter how big or small your budget is, right? Yeah. So a few of the other challenges that we can face when not provided with a budget or with the correct budget is, another thing is misalignment, like I've said before, with your client goals. With a clear budget, a real estate agent can show properties that are, with a clear budget, a real estate agent may show properties that are outside the client's, why is my tongue tying? Outside the client's financial zone. This can be frustrating for both the client and the real estate agent if your budget is not clear. You don't want to be showing you properties that are not in line with your financial zone, okay? There can also be missed opportunities. If a client provides a lower budget than they are actually willing to spend, they may miss out on potential suitable properties. Real estate agents may exclude properties that could have given the client, that could have met the client's needs, because they believe that they are beyond the client's budget. I've had that happen many times. You're looking at one price point when you're given a missed budget, and then come to find out that the customer is actually in another price point area. And sometimes you don't want to offend people, because you have some customers who say for sure, don't send me anything out of this price range. And you're looking in that price range, trying not to go over, and at the end of the day, they can extend, but you never knew that because the customer has never said anything like this to you, right? So you want to make sure you're in line with what they are thinking about and their budget, right? So also you can tell that it's, you can think about, agents use the budget as a crucial filter. Of course, like I've said before, in property searches, an incorrect or vague budget can lead to less targeted searches, making it harder to find the right fit. Makes it harder for the real estate agent to find the right fit, because they're searching in a blind spot and they don't know where to search to be able to reach those customers' goals. And I would like to say this is very important. Limited negotiation leverage. This is so important in real estate deals. Your real estate agent need to know how flexible you are, what is your limit, to be able to negotiate on your behalf for you in an effective manner, right? So when negotiating offers, having an accurate, talking about accurate budget, a realtor might not negotiate effectively on your behalf if they believe the budget is lower than it actually is, potentially resulting in missed opportunities for better deals, right? So we want to be able to negotiate on your behalf properly, so we need to understand exactly where your budget is so we can do an effective and an efficient job in representing you. So to avoid these issues, it's essential, very essential, for clients to be transparent, like I've said before, and provide their real estate agent with a realistic and an accurate budget. Open and honest communication is key to ensuring that your real estate agent can efficiently and effectively help you, the client, find the right property that aligns with your financial needs and goals. If you're not sure about what your budget is, then just relay that to your real estate agent. Like I said, open communication is key. Don't be afraid to express what your budget is. And if you don't know, like I've said about the show, this is where we can advise you how to go about finding out and understanding what your budget really is. Okay? I have one example I would like to share, and this is a real example just to show you about why it's so important in understanding and knowing your budget, and for the real estate agent to know your budget, right? So in a specific case, there was a potential customer who had expressed interest in acquiring land, but this customer began by stating that they did not have a defined budget. So that was the first thing, stating that they did not have a defined budget, right? They provided basic details about their preferences, and the preference was for beachfront property and their intention to undertake a development project. So we have limited information here. So we know that they're looking for beachfront property. We know that they are looking to do a development project. But at the same time, remember, the customer has expressed that there's no defined budget, right? So, however, when beachfront properties were presented to this customer, the customer consistently deemed that the prices were excessively high. All right, remember, there's no specific budget. Naturally, as an agent, the agent would have asked clarifying questions such as whether the price exceeded their intended budget or if they perceived that the land value to be unrealistic. You would have asked that question because if you are sending a customer properties and their response is always that the price is too high, we need to understand if they are saying this price is too high for them, is it above their budget, or are they saying that how the market can get inflated if they are just not prepared to pay inflated prices. Right? So these questions have distinct implications because they mean two different things. However, the response from this particular customer was consistent and boiled down to a simple, the price is too high. So we're still being vague. We're not saying really what that means. It then proceeded to search for properties that I would believe represented sound investment opportunities, what this agent would have tried to do, where appropriately priced. This whole conversation boiled down to where this particular agent had actually presented opportunities to this customer, that was in line with market prices that they feel like was a good deal. Right? So, and even after all of this, the response continued to be the price is too high. Think about it. If you are a real estate agent and you continue to get the same response after drilling your customer time and time again, the price is too high, and asking them specific questions to simplify it, what would you do? Right? How would you feel? How would you know how to maneuver? So basically, after analyzing this situation, there were a few things that were observed, but I'm just going to talk about three of the points that came out of this, right? So number one, like I said before, there were unclear expectations. Without a budget guideline, the customer expectations may not have been properly aligned with the market realities. They may have unrealistic expectations about the cost of beachfront property that is suitable for development. Two, I can sense a line of frustration. The customer repeated response that the properties were too high suggests a disconnect between their expectations and obviously what's available within their budget. This can lead definitely to frustration and disappointment on behalf of both the customer and the agent. And three, insufficient property search. The absence of a budget made it challenging for the agent to narrow down suitable options efficiently. The agent may have been exploring properties that were far above or below the customer's actual financial capability. So that's just an example to show you. That's just an example to show you that no matter, like I've said before, how low your budget is or how high your budget is, you think you can afford, you still need to have some idea of what you're looking at, because it can lead to an ineffective property search and in turn help you not to find the right property if we're not working together and align with what type of money or budget you have and is looking to spend. Okay, so I'm going to say this again, just so you know, again, like I say, today we're talking about budgeting, the importance of having a budget when you are looking for real estate. Okay, sometimes, like I said before, you may not have an exact budget, but there's always, I think you always will have an idea of what you are looking to spend. And as we go a little further in, I'm going to give you the reverse side of that. If you don't know, another method in which you can use to come up with some sort of budget, right? So I want to plug in here and say this. I know I've said something about this before, but again, just as a reminder, walking into a real estate office and saying that you are looking for a small plot, I like to say this because does not explain your budget. I've had this time and time again. The market in the Turks and Caicos is very unique, and we have to remember also, like any other market as well, location makes a difference with prices. So you can actually purchase a 0.25, so that's quarter of an acre lot, just say for example in Long Bay, for around $145,000, right? However, while looking for a lot of the same 0.25 in the Leeward area, you can easily be around approximately $385,000. So therefore, you have to figure out your budget in order to get an effective result. So you can't just walk in the office and say, I want a small plot, because a small plot of land the same size, depending on the location you're in, will cost something different. So then your agent will be looking at small plots of land, 0.25, but you could be all over the board when it comes to a price. I hope that's clear in what I am explaining. All right, so that's another reason why it's important to have in mind or know, an idea of what type of budget you are looking at, right? So, like I've said before, some persons may have to do the reverse by familiarizing themselves with properties on the market. So I've had this situation before. You're not 100% sure about your budget, so perhaps you need to do the reverse. You need to familiarize yourself with properties on the market and then set a budget. So there are sites that you can visit to view properties. And if you are upfront with your real estate agent, like I mentioned before, clear communication is key, right? That agent can direct you to general sites where that you can view to help you get an idea of these prices on the market. One, for example, is the TCREA, which is the Turks and Caicos Real Estate Association. That's a general public site, and it's a good site that you can use just to browse through at your leisure, and you can get an understanding and an idea of what type of property, prices are out there. And so just by doing that, then you will be able to get an idea of what property values are and what type of budget you may be able to work towards, right? So also by doing this, you can get realistic expectations. So for example, by doing something like this, the market prices can provide a clear picture of what properties are currently selling for in your desired area. And this can help you set realistic expectations about what you can afford and what type of properties are within your budget. Okay? I hope that's clear. Also, budget alignment, like market prices. What I mean by that is that market prices, can help to align your budget with the prevailing real estate conditions. If prices in your preferred areas are higher than expected, you may need to adjust your budget to explore alternative locations. So if you're looking on, say, for example, the TCREA website, like I've said before, if you just do a search generally, hey, I'm going to go 0 to 500,000. You'll be able to see if some of the desired areas that you're thinking about locations are within there, because you can't just walk into an office and say, I don't want Five Keys, I don't want Blue Hills, I don't want Grace Bay, I don't want Leeward, not understanding the values in the area, right? The other thing I will say with by doing your research and viewing these prices even before to help you with your budget is about your budget contingency. Knowing market prices will allow you to set a contingency fund for unexpected expenses, such as repairs and renovations. This ensures that your budget is realistic and can cover all potential costs. This is especially good in terms of condos or townhomes. Understanding your expenses that comes along with some of these properties will help you set your budget better, because you're not just thinking about purchasing, but you're also thinking about the carrying cost of these properties once you have already made that purchase. Okay, so again, like I say, whether you are a cash buyer or whether you are seeking bank financing, you need to have an idea of a budget when thinking about making a real estate purchase. All right, so I think I've said a lot today, just talking. I don't want to just keep talking. You can always listen to this segment again. Hope I haven't spoken too fast. So really, it brings us to the end of today's episode, which again was about the importance of having a budget when looking at real estate. I hope that you've gained valuable insight into why budgeting is the cornerstone of the success of your real estate transaction, right? Remember that a well-planned budget can help you achieve your real estate goals while minimizing financial risk. That's what you want to do. Achieve your real estate goals and minimize financial risk. And I will say one last time, if you are a buyer who is seeking financing, you want to lean on the bank to help with your pre-qualification, right? To help you come up with your budget. Or if you don't want to go that route right away, you need to think about what type of down payment you have to put towards the purchase of the property, and think about your closing costs. This will help you to come up with your budget. Your real estate agent is able to assist you with the basic information, closing costs and how to get around a lot of those costs. So that's why you can have a sit down with them and help to come up with you finalizing or getting a close idea of what your budget is. But more importantly, it's important to check with your lending officer, and they can give you an even more clear picture about your lending opportunities if you are seeking bank financing. All right, so again, thank you for listening in. Stay tuned for more informative episodes of Let's Talk TCI Real Estate. And definitely, if you have any questions or topics that you would like for us to cover, please feel free to reach out. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Vernica Delancey. And if you are watching from YouTube, please stay locked in with my Facebook page as well, which is Real Estate with Vernica Delancey. So until next time, stay safe and remain blessed. Thank you for watching and have a great Thursday evening.
The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed on this show belong solely to Let's Talk TCI Real Estate and not that of Keller Williams TCI or any of its affiliates. Any action you take upon the information provided on this show is strictly at your own risk, and Let's Talk TCI Real Estate guests or hosts will not be liable for any losses and damages in connection with the use of the material. I am not an investment advisor, broker, or dealer.